What do you get when you combine high-flying action star Jackie Chan and motor-mouth think-on-the-fly stand-up comedian Chris Tucker? A catalyst for what many thought was impossible to accomplish. A buddy cop film starring two minority leads effectively embracing the stereotypical differences between Black and Asian culture. In today's video, we're going to do a deep dive on why the fastest hands in the East and the biggest mouth in the West combined for comedic and cultural representation that not only created smash box office success, but also became a global phenomenon that evolutionized the comedy action genre for years to come. Rush Hour tells the story of by-the-book disciplined Hong Kong detective inspector Yan Nang Lee, who was ordered to team up with wisecracking loudmouth LAPD cop James Carter. After a Chinese diplomat's daughter is kidnapped by a crime lord named Juntao in LA, Consul Han calls Lee to assist the FBI with the case. The FBI has no interest in using Lee's services and dumps him off to Carter to babysit him. The establishment sidelines our two main leads, even though they are the most capable for the job. Although Lee and Carter can't stand each other at first, it's up to them to put aside their cultural differences in order to save Consul Han's daughter and solve the case. This story highlights the importance of never counting the little guy out, because even though the FBI and LAPD underappreciate Lee and Carter's police expertise, it's that shared neglectfulness that leads Lee and Carter to solve the case. With this as one of their many shared similarities, they break through racial barriers to understand one another on a deeper level and become allies in order to accomplish the most important objective to the both of them, saving the little girl. Before we dive deep into the movie, let's talk about the significance of buddy films and why it was so effective in American culture. Films like Stir Crazy, 48 Hours, and Lethal Weapon were ideal for American cinema at the time because of the contrasting personalities of the two leads. With one typically being Black and the other one white, through the use of humor, it was easy to address the racial stereotypes in a lighthearted manner. By forcing these opposing cultures to overcome their initial biases to work together against a common threat or external challenge, this perpetuates to the audience that racial harmony in America is achievable and reinforces that racial conflict can be resolved through the universal concept of friendship, loyalty, and collaboration. In layman's term, Black, white, or Asian people will put aside their racial biases if they're put in situations where they have to work together as a functioning partnership in order to achieve the same goal. So family, let's get educational. Feel me? So a few years before Rush Hour, racial tensions were at an all-time high between Blacks and Asians. The Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965 led to a significant increase in immigration from Asian countries, which then led to the influx of Korean-owned businesses in predominantly Black areas. Language barriers and cultural misunderstandings led to Koreans developing anti-Black biases and Black people frustrated with Korean store owners profiting off of Black struggle in an exploitative way. Certain events, like the killing of Latasha Harlings, who was a 15-year-old girl who was shot by Soon Ja-doo, a Korean store owner that was given a slap on the wrist for her crime, and the acquittal of 4 police officers who brutally beat an unarmed Black man named Rodney King, were key moments that led to the 1992 LA riots. In the midst of the LA riots, Korean-owned businesses suffered about $1 billion in property damages at the hands of looters and arsonists, in which the media framed these issues as Black versus Koreans, diverting from the real root of the problem, which was systematic racism and white supremacy influencing socioeconomic factors. The animosity between Black people and Asians were a result of a much larger structural issue of white supremacy and systematic racism that created conditions of economic hardships and multiracial divisions perpetuated by the media and law enforcement. Woo! All that research, who your research team? Me? Yo, I'm wildin'. This is why Rush Hour came out at the perfect time. Rush Hour in the late 90s is exactly what America needed to foster the idealization of racial harmony between Black and Asian culture. Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker were the perfect candidates to represent their respective cultures. Jackie Chan was a martial arts star in his own right, starring in movies like Drunken Master, City Hunter, and Rumble in the Bronx that highlighted his unique blend of action and comedy, but never really managed to break him into the American market. Chris Tucker, on the other hand, was a rising star, widely popular comedian known for his work on Def Jam, Friday, and Money Talks, and had the credibility to garner many American audiences with his own fast-talking, high-energy comedy. In the beginning of Rush Hour, Lee and Carter are forced to work together and want nothing to do with each other. Lee's disciplined and honorable demeanor, which is stereotypically Asian, contrasts to Carter's loud and arrogant attitude, which is stereotypically Black. They both aren't used to having partners, and their initial hostility stems from not only their cultural misunderstandings, but also mutual resentment towards the establishment for sidelining them from helping with the case. So, even though Lee and Carter start with forced culture-clashing animosity towards each other, let's break down the key moments in the movie that evolve the relationship into a genuine friendship built through mutual respect and shared adversity. At first, Carter sees Lee as a nuisance because he's ordered to babysit him by the FBI, and he's even more annoyed with the fact that he thinks Lee doesn't speak any English. On the other hand, Lee sees Carter as a loudmouth hindrance to him rescuing Soo Young. So off rip, their relationship is based off of cultural misunderstandings and mutual disregard for both of their police expertise. Carter starts off pretty racially insensitive towards Lee, and he's hostile towards Lee when he tells him to never touch a black man's radio.
Never touch a black man's radio, boy! You ain't gotta be rich, but
and that he'll drop his ass off at Panda Express, which I thought that line was crazy. Then to top it off, Carter takes Lee to Chinatown, assuming Lee would see somebody he knows. So based off this, it's pretty clear Carter represents how most black people saw Asians in the 90s. When Lee escapes from Carter, tensions brew once Carter learns Lee can speak English. Carter feels he's been wronged, and Lee has a distaste for the way Carter carries himself. At this point, they both do not trust each other. It isn't until the bar fight that we start to see them acknowledging each other's strengths. For instance, Lee isn't aware of the social connotations around calling the bartender nigga.
What did you just say?
What's up, my nigga?
Which sparks a chaotic brawl that ends with Jackie Chan beating a bunch of these niggas' asses. This allows Carter to witness Lee's fighting prowess, and on the other hand, Lee gets to witness how Carter maneuvers through, criminals with his quick thinking and street smarts. Let's fast forward to the stakeout scene where they sing the song War.
Wow, ooh, yeah. What is it good for? Absolutely not. You don't by no war.
This is the most important scene of the movie, defining a pivotal moment that further grows their bond. They're both able to find common ground when they sing the song War together and genuinely connect as partners when Carter teaches Lee how to dance, which is a black thing. And once Lee teaches Carter how to fight and disarm a gunman, which is an Asian thing. The song War itself is a perfect combination of them breaking down those cultural barriers, adding to the scene that visually represents them making an effort to learn from one another, which is essentially heartwarming. This allows for not only them to start bonding with each other, but for the audience to truly see them as genuine partners. Their relationship grows even further when Lee saves Carter from nearly being killed in the restaurant scene, showcasing a true testament to them having each other's backs. Once Carter covers Lee while getting shot at and speaks on Lee's behalf when defending him to Consul Han, this proves to Lee that Carter is there to back him up no matter what. Lee and Carter bond over the fact that both their fathers were police officers. This similarity between them strengthens their partnership, especially when Lee confronts Carter for being dismissive about being a cop. This allowed Carter to open up about his father being killed on the job, unveiling an emotional vulnerability from Carter that creates a deeper level of empathy and understanding between them. After the FBI fired Lee and Carter from the case when their plan backfires at the restaurant, it took Carter's perseverance and genuine concern for Soo Young and their partnership to convince Lee to get back on the mission. In the end, their partnership is solidified once they used their combined skills to take down Juntao. It's also important to note Carter used the skills he learned from Lee to disarm a henchman earlier to protect Soo Young, which further builds the trust Lee has for Carter. Once all their enemies are dealt with, Soo Young is safe and sound, and Carter saves Lee from a fall with the banner. The trust between them is strengthened, solidifying their partnership, causing them to both look past their cultural differences. In conclusion, Lee and Carter's relationship evolved from a culture clash to a genuine friendship. At the time Rush Hour released, black people and Asian people didn't really see eye to eye, and this movie allowed for certain stereotypes to be expressed through humor, ultimately breaking down racial barriers. So, in the beginning of the movie, Lee and Carter hold cultural biases against each other, and it isn't until they are disregarded by the establishment that they start to focus less on their differences and more on their strengths. Lee's being his reserved nature and sharp fighting skills, and Carter being his street smarts, instincts, and ability to think on his feet. Once they learn to appreciate their strengths, this allows them to succeed as a team and create a formidable and entertaining crime-fighting duo. Through their shared experience in near-death encounters, they learn to rely on each other, fully embracing their shared identity as a duo and forming a bond not only as partners, but as genuine friends.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into my video. If you enjoyed that, please make sure you like, subscribe. Also, guys, let me know in the comment section down below. What was your favorite Rush Hour? Was it Rush Hour the first one, second one, or the third one? Me personally, Rush Hour 2, Def goated. Def my go-to. You know me? Guys, the last video that I dropped is going to be in the description down below, so make sure you don't miss out on that as well too. Also, guys, let me know what other shows, movies, topics you guys want me to talk about in my next video. You feel me? Love all the energy. Let me know in the comments. You feel me? I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Love.